and welcome to eEdge Database Management and Campaigns. This is Mariana Pearson with Keller Williams Central. I am here today to teach you about your database, how to enter contacts, how to manage those contacts, as well as how to get them set up on campaigns for those contacts. I wanted to also remind y'all this was part of the Tech Masters program, so please pay attention. If you see a question that's down at the bottom of the screen, that is going to be one of the questions you need to answer in order to get credit for the Tech Masters program. So let's go ahead and get started. So first of all, you want to be entered into your MyKW. So as you can see, I'm already entered in to my MyKW login. There are two ways that you can enter into the eEdge control panel. The first way is through this little navigator system that's located right here in the middle of my screen. In order to get to your contacts, you can either hit View Contacts. You've also got a plus option to as a kind of a, I guess, a quick access for how you can get into adding a new contact or changing your shared access. You can also click over into the My Marketing, My Email option. Any of these will take you into the eEdge database. So for a quick access, I'm going to go ahead and just hit my View Contacts. So let's get that. It's just loading right now. So the second way you can navigate through your eEdge, I'm going to exit out of that, is once you've entered into it, you can at this time get into any of the parts of the eEdge you want. So I can get into my contacts, listings, I can go to the create marketing materials, and I can access my dashboard. But first, before we do that, I want to remind y'all that you should have your settings set up. Make sure that you have your headshot, your social profile set up, any logos you want to have. So I'm going to show you where to do that. Up at the top, you're going to go over to where it says Hi, hit the drop down, and then from there you're going to hit My Account. Just a little slow today. Okay, so once you're in here, as you can see, my information's already plugged in. You should be able to see yours is already plugged in as well. The phone number, though, that's going to be here is probably the office number. So what you want to do is go ahead and change that to your personal phone number. If you have a different website that you're wanting to use, you can enter that as well. So you want to make sure you go through and enter in any missing data or information that you may want to change. Even through your marketing, if you have any kind of logo, call to action, anything like that that you want to add, make sure it's in there. Your social media links, so you want to put those in there as well. You're just going to hit the edit button and it's going to edit these down here. Or if you want to add the social media, you're going to do the add social media button. Go ahead and select what type of social media it is. And then from there, you're just going to have the URL saved right in here. And what that's going to do is add the little icons down at the bottom of either your campaign or your eEdge website. You also want to make sure that you have your headshot in both of these areas. This is going to be your website image, so you want that headshot there. And then your marketing campaigns, materials, anything that the photo you want it to auto-populate to. So even if you didn't want to use your headshot, say you wanted to use a logo there instead, whatever marketing image you want on there, make sure that is here. And I'll show you later on where that's going to pop up. And then if you had an additional logo besides the Keller Williams logo that you wanted to add for your team, you can do that here, and that is going to help with auto-populating that logo over into that marketing. So I'm going to go back up. So that's your settings. Another thing that I want to make sure that is set up is this email settings. This is going to be your email signature. This is different from your email that you have through KW. This is what's going to show if you send an email through the eEdge database. So make sure that's set up. Everything's on there that you want there to be. You can even add your banner that you're giving when you sign in or sign up with the office. However you want that banner or that signature to look like, go ahead and do that here. Back into my account, I just wanted to point this out. Here are some things that I would definitely take a look at when you get a chance. Any kind of office info, how you want to be responded, if your information changes or anything like that. You can do that as well. And you can also access your website through here as well. And this is your eEdge website. So that was just a quick little tour on how to do that. I want to show you real quick what your dashboard looks like. You're going to enter that by clicking the dashboard tab up at the top. This is going to bring you to any kind of quick access points that you may need. When you log in for the day, this is kind of your go-to when you first sit down, try to figure out, what your schedule looks like, who you need to be contacting, any kind of reminders or tasks that you may have coming up for today that you need to do as well. So these are any contacts that have had some recent activity. You can see here which contacts have recently logged in or clicked on my website in the past. I think they do the past 30 days. So you can see where all that is or the latest activity is. The other feature is this upcoming reminder. So you can see, here that Dalton and Lauren, I need to be reaching out to them with a personal message for the anniversary of their home, and that is coming up later this month. So that is a task of something that it is reminding me about. You should also see over here that your profile is 100% complete. Again, which you need to make sure when you go into that setting option that you have filled out everything in order to get that 100% complete status. I do know that does help with some of the activities you need to do in eEdge, and they do like to have that 100% status showing up on your site. So that's just a quick view of the dashboard. I do want to start off by showing you contacts. So when you first get started in eEdge, you may have a large database of contacts that you want to enter into eEdge. Obviously, doing that one at a time probably would not be the best time consuming, or would be very time consuming, so not the best use of our time. So I want to show you how you can add a large group of contacts at one time to get you started, and then I'll show you how you can add a contact one by one. So I'm going to hover over this contacts tab. You can either click on where you can view all of your contacts. Again, you can see any that are recently active. This is where you would go if you wanted to add one contact at a time. This is where later on I'll show you how to come back and manage some groups. This button down here where it says import and export, we're going to go ahead and click on that. And then this is going to bring you into the portion where you are able to import contacts in a large group. So you're going to first select the type of contact list that you have. Most people use the basic contact lists, and actually if you do click on that, you can download a template that's already made for you, set up where it's going to tell you exactly what columns are required and where you can enter those contact or that information in each of those columns so it does line up correctly. I do want to point out though, if you do use one of their templates, that do not change any of the columns at the top. Even if you don't have, say, for example, the birthday for that person, do not delete that column because it does recognize the positioning of each of the columns when it does download into your eEdge. So don't make any changes, just add what information you have for each contact and then upload it from there. I do want to point out also that the minimum column requirements for each contact, in order for it to upload the contact, you must have the first name, last name, and an email address, or you must have the first name, last name, and a full address, physical mailing address added onto that contact. If you are missing one of those, one of the criteria for that contact, it will still upload all of the contacts except for that particular contact. So let's say you did forget the last name and you don't have anything in there for John, but you do have his email. It is going to not upload that contact unless you go in and add a last name for him. So if you don't have a last name, make sure you're at least putting something there. So you're going to choose which type of list that you're going to upload. For example, here we have the basic contact list. You do need to choose the status of each of them, and this is going to set the status for all of those contacts that you uploaded. I would go ahead and set them up as a lead. That way you know that you need to contact them and that they are new to your database. Or if you wanted to code it another way, say cold or anything like that, you're more than welcome to do that. Then you need to set the contact type. Again, you may not know right away if they're a buyer or seller, so you can always set them as other until you get to that point and you are able to put them in a different category at different times. You can also add them to a group if you have one already set up. You may not have any set up just yet, but that's okay. You can go ahead and hit no thanks. And then you're going to choose that file from your computer, upload it, and you do have to hit the I agree to have these contacts opt in to receive email. So make sure you hit that and you're going to import. Then you'll see down here where that status of that upload is, when it started, when it was finished, who the agent is that can see them, as well as how many contacts were imported, how many failed, and what action they're currently at. So you can see where that upload is at any time. Also, if you ever needed to export your contacts, say you wanted to go in and take your contacts out of your eEdge and put them into a Excel sheet so you can enter them elsewhere, you can always go to this export contacts. All you need to do is you need to select the group of that contact. You can select all of them, or you can also do it by the contact status, however you want to do it, but you can export all those contacts as well, and it will give you an Excel sheet. So that is how you add a group of contacts. Now I'm going to show you how you will add a contact one at a time. So we're going to hover back over to this Contacts tab and drop down to Add a Contact. From there you can see what information it's going to ask for each of those contacts, and it is ready for you to edit. So again, you just need to choose the status, the type if you want. Anything that has an asterisk, like you can see the name, phone number, and email, those are going to be more required, and again, you need to have at least an email address and the name. So go ahead and you would fill in what contact information you need. So for time's sake, I already created my own, so I'm going to go ahead and show you. I had set myself up on as a contact, so I'm just going to show you what that looks like really quick. So this is what it would look like if I went in to add a contact. So as you can see, I do have my name, last name, the type, my phone number. Went ahead and put in my gender, what company this contact works for, as well as a good email for them. You also need to make sure that when you are entering email, I get this question all the time, if you do add a space like I just did and you try to save it that way, it is going to tell you you have an error. So just a little tip, make sure you do delete that space because it is very sensitive about that. You can see here I've also added in my birthday. And I've also added a purchase anniversary. So if you do have either of these, the birthday or the purchase anniversary, you do want to make sure that you add that in there because there are campaigns that you can set them up on to get an automatic email on that date. So I will later show you how to do that, but you do want to make sure that you have that because why not send them a little birthday card on their date, or I guess a little birthday email, or the purchase anniversary, they get one as well. Okay, so I also want to show you where you can add any kind of note. Say you want to put, any kind of activity when you last talked to them. Any notes you want to have about that contact can go here. Addresses, you do want to go in, and if you have an address for them, go ahead and create that. Looks like I accidentally got one deleted, so that's okay. I'll just show you real quick what that looks like. So create new address. The address title is going to be the title of, say you do have a mailer, go out to them. Whatever status or whatever title you want them to have, say you want Brian and Mariana Pearson, Mr. and Mrs. Pearson, the Pearson family, whatever title you want that address to have needs to go right here. So go ahead, or even if you just wanted Mariana Pearson, you want to put that as well. You would also have their address in here. You can go ahead and if say you sold that property to them, you already have some property information some information about that property. So go ahead and enter in what you know. It doesn't hurt to fill in as much as you can. And then you can even go in and put the date of that sale, or if they're planning to sell soon, anything like that, just to give you a little more information when you log into this contact. So do that, and you would hit save. but for now I'm going to hit cancel since I didn't enter in anything. So you will have that address there in case you ever wanted to needed it, or if you wanted to send them a mailer through the eEdge system. The secondary details are where you're going to have maybe the husband's information or the second person that purchased the house. They don't get the email at the same time just because of this. This is just more information's sake, so you have it all in one place. Family members, you can go ahead and add in family members. We put our cat Phoebe in here for right now, but if they had kids or anything like that that you wanted to remember their names, that would go there as well. If you wanted to track any kind of activity on if they are a new lead or anything like that, if they already have an agent, if they have a mortgage lender, you can go ahead and you can log in that information here, as well as the time frame for when and how long they have until they purchase their next house. You can add in where they may be looking at, as well as a budget too, so just to give yourself some more information on that contact. If they did have any kind of buyer request, say they did request some more information, you would see this pop up here. This is if they log in through your website, or if they're on your website and they request information on a certain house, that information will pop up here as well. So once you have everything in there, you are going to hit Save Contact. Make sure you have all the contact information. Then this is the view that it will look like once it's saved. If you're going to go ahead and scroll back down to the bottom. I want to show you some other tabs and information that you can have down here as well on each contact. This is the Market Insider. This is kind of a newer feature, so I'm not 100% sure just yet what it does, but I am playing around with it. But you can go ahead and enter in their zip code. I believe it sends them some market updates based off the information you give it. Emails, any kind of emails you've received from that contact would go here. Any emails you've sent out will go here. You can also see if that contact had opened the email that you had sent them. You can also see if they clicked on maybe a hyperlink or the link to your website as well through that email. You can also do like a quick access of what that email looked like if you ever wanted to go back. This was the welcome email I sent out to myself when I set myself up, or this was a little invite to Texas poker night that I wanted to send out to my sphere, so you can see where Mariana got that. Any kind of reminders that you may have to add to that, again, it will show up where I showed you on your dashboard. So say you did want to follow up about a CMA that you had sent them, you want to remind yourself to maybe follow up about their home purchase in 3 months. This is where you're going to do that. Anytime that you get off the phone with them, hypothetically, this is where you should add your next to-do list or to-do step. That way, when the time comes for you to reach out to them, it is all in one place. Campaigns, again, I'm going to show you how to get the campaign started, but for now, I just want to show you what it looks like so you can see what campaigns each contact is added into. As you can see, I have her set up on the birthday campaign and the anniversary campaign. And it does show you which ones are active and inactive, as well as when the next step or what the next step is and when it will go out. So groups are another item I'm going to show you how to get set up, but this is where you would go to add that contact to a group. As you can see, Mariana is in several groups, so you can add a contact to more than one group. You just need to choose which group you want to add them into. Simply click the tab or the check mark next to it, the little box, and click add, and then from there it will add them into that group. Okay, so in order to get that group set up, we're going to hover back over the Contacts tab and click on the Manage Groups section. As you can see, I already have several groups set up, and you can see how many contacts I have in each. But in order to create a new group, you're going to click over into the section where it says Create New Group, add your group name, and hit Save. And then from there, you can see the group that I just added. You can also do actions if you wanted to change the group name, or you can delete that as well. If you're ever in the group section and you want to see who is in that group, so let's say my close friends, I've got 13 in that group, I can click over on that 13 and it is going to pull up those contacts that are in that group. So that was just a little added note. So I want to go back to my Mariana contacts. So let me get back over into her contacts so I can show you some more things. And you can also see up here I'm doing my search. That is a quick way to search for a contact. So if you, instead of going down and searching through all the contacts, you can always search up here as well. So back into my Mariana contact, I want to show you also there are other things that you can do with this contact from here. If I did have any reminders, they would show up right here and I could click on them to view them. If I wanted to send Mariana an email, I can simply hit the send email. As you can see, here's my signature that I had you set up earlier. So you're going to go ahead and put in your subject, whatever you wanted as far as the text, and you can also schedule for when you want that email to go out. So that's pretty kind of a cool feature that you can use through eEdge. So if you did have a reminder email you wanted them to go out to them next week, but you had some time today to do that, you can absolutely schedule for that email to send out in the future. And then when you do send an email, you have the option of including showcase properties. So that's going to pull from your IDX some showcase properties, and you can see where those are going to go. And those social media links, like I had mentioned before, to add those in, you can go ahead and add those links down at the bottom of your email, so that way they can connect with you that way. If you go back to the contact, I'm going to cancel that. You can also send directly some listings to that contact. So you would just go to the send listings portion. You can filter that search to whatever criteria you want to send them to. And what that's going to do is send them a link that's going to link up to your eEdge website so they can see those listings through there. It's a really great way to get contacts that keep coming back to your website. If you click down on the more actions, you can also set them up on a listing alert. So that's going to kind of set them, what that does is set them up on a automatic alert anytime a new listing that fits that criteria hits the market and hits your website. It will send them a alert. You can change the frequency of how often they get that. If you wanted to have them only get it once every day, twice a week, as soon as it does hit the well, you have to be pro in order to do as soon as available. But I would say, since we're using this more to get them to come back to your website, that I would set them up maybe on a weekly, maybe twice a week, depending on how far out they are in their search and how often it feels right for them to get that email from you. Just make sure you choose accordingly to how often they should get that. And then again, you're going to go through and click and choose any kind of criteria that may fit their search. You can also do a show only open houses. So if they just wanted to see open houses, you can absolutely do that as well. You also have the option to send a CMA, so you can go in here, create a CMA based off of the criteria of their home. It does create a really pretty visual for them, and then we'll email that over to them straight from the eEdge. Okay. So you can also, once you have them set up on that listing alert, you can see those listing alerts right here. If I did have any set up for myself, you can see how frequently they are coming into the portal, the last one that they viewed, how many times they viewed that certain listing, and if they did any kind of action, say they requested a showing or anything like that, you would see that here. Transactions. So this is a cool new feature where you can add transactions to this particular contact. You can see where I went ahead and added in when I purchased my house. I went ahead and put that in there. So you would add the transaction, and it does, once you put in the price and how much that GCI was in your split, you can see it does calculate a commission for you. And pretty sure that this transaction does go back over into your CGI tool. So this would be a great little feature to go ahead and add in that purchase or sell here, and then it will correlate over into other parts of the eEdge. Okay, so that is how to add a contact and manage a contact and get them set up, how to email them. So you should by now know how to at least get those contacts in there, how to sort them into groups, and every time you meet someone, be able to add them into that your eEdge CRM. So now I'm going to go into the campaigns and how to get those contacts set up on a campaign. So that way we can go ahead and get them set, at least seeing some emails from you, and it will be automatic. So you're going to hover over on this Create Marketing tab, and then from there you're going to click on the My Campaigns feature. You can already see which campaigns I already have set up or which ones I've already started and played with. Some of these are just some examples I've shown before in the past. But what I'm going to do is go ahead and show you how to start a new campaign, and then I'll go into more detail on the campaigns themselves. So you're going to click on the Add New Campaign button over on the right side of your screen. There are different types of campaigns that eEdge has already provided you with. I'm not going to go into too much detail on which campaign you should use for what different scenario, as that's a whole nother class. But today I just want to show you how to get those campaigns set up and how to get them started to send out to your clients. But I do want to point out the different types. So there are two main different types of campaigns. There's a date campaign, which are campaigns that go out on a specific date. For example, you want your seasonal tips campaigns to go out on certain dates, because we want to make sure that the winter emails go out during the winter time, and the summer campaigns go out, or the emails go out during the summertime. So those do go out on specific dates. The interval campaigns are the ones that are going to start, and they go out based on when you entered that contact onto the campaign. So for example, say I did start Mariana on my 8x8 Buyer 2016 campaign. She is going to get an email from me that day, and then 3 days later she will get another email. Well, let's see. On this particular campaign, so you do get an email probably the first day that it goes out. The next week she's going to get the second email. The third week she'd get the third email. The fourth week would be a phone call, so they do have some activities in there. By the way, you can tell what campaigns or what actions each of the campaigns have by this quick view access up here. As you can see, this one has 6 email steps, no direct mailing steps, and 3 activity steps, which are usually a phone call, and then the last step, which is usually to switch them onto a new campaign. So that kind of gives you an idea if what kind of activities you want to do. Your 12 by 12, as you can see, is going to be 12 email steps. So make sure, I would just go through, and you can always read the description on what that campaign looks like, and you can always click down to view and preview what each of those steps look like, so you can choose which campaign best fits your needs for that particular contact. So the other 2 types that you're going to have are the birthday campaigns and the anniversary campaigns. I love this feature so much that eEdge recently has added. This does send out 5 emails, so each year they are going to get an email from me. There's 5 of them already set up. They did go ahead and add a second one, so you already have 9 years worth of birthday emails ready to go when you set a contact up. So if you do have a birthday, that's at least 1 touch a year that they're going to get from you, and I really personally like the birthday emails. Then you're also going to have, so if you wanted to do, so that's the email. There's also where you could set them up to get 3 emails, and then 1 year they may get a direct mail. So again, just click that over and you can see, so the first year they are going to get an email. The second year they are going to get a postcard or a little birthday greeting in the mail from you. Third year they would get the email again, and then the fourth year they would get that direct mail. So again, if you do, but just keep in mind that if you do use that direct mail feature, you do have to pay extra for that. So I would look into that a little more before you get them set up on it. You could also do just a print if you wanted to do that as well. And they also have a birthdays reminder. So this is all activity steps. When you do set them up on that birthday campaign, you want to make sure to also set them up on this birthday reminder, because this is going to be an activity task that gets added to your dashboard to remind you that you also may need to call them or reach out to them in another way, send them a Facebook message, however you contact with them. This is just a task reminder that it is their birthday or that birthday is coming up. So you want to make sure to not only add them to the campaign itself, but also add them to that reminder. Then the last type is that anniversary, so kind of the same thing as the birthday. You can either choose to do the mailers, you can choose to do the emails, but again, you do need to make sure that you set them up on that purchase anniversary reminder, so that way you know as well. So I'm going to go ahead and do a quick example on a campaign and what that looks like to get someone set up. So just for time's sake, I'm going to go ahead and show you the 12 direct seasonal tips. I think this is a good one that you could set up any of your contacts on, whether they're buying, selling, or just on in your sphere as a regular contact. So this is a good one to go ahead and look at and see if you like. We're going to hit the choose this template, and then from there you can change rename that campaign if you choose to, if you have another way that you want to identify that campaign. Since this is a date campaign, you cannot change or schedule when those are going to go out. They do have that auto-populated for you. One of the good things about eEdge is they go ahead and do this for you, so you don't have to. So don't overthink when that's going to go out or what a lot of the material looks like. So you can change the email subject. So if you did want to put Happy Thanksgiving, from your team name or from you, however you want to do that, you can add in some email subject. You do need to personalize, though, each one of these email campaigns. As you can see right now, they do have it set up where a silhouette shows up. So you do want to make sure that you go in, hit personalize, and then from there, it is going to auto-populate. Remember I said earlier, you want to make sure that you have, your headshot in that space for the marketing. This is going to auto-populate that information and pull from what information you set up through your settings. So you can go in. One of the things that's kind of strange about the eEdge is it does kind of make the signature a little funny, so I always kind of play with that right there and take out the second realtor down at the bottom. So you can go in, you can personalize. If you did have another logo, you would see that right here under the KW logo. You can also go in and change any of the wording that you may want, but you cannot change. If you wanted to put in a different photo, you can. You just can't change any wording on that photo. So once you're done there, you're just going to hit the save option. You're going to save the name of that marketing piece. Oh, and it already exists because I've created this before. So let me just add a number 1. And then from there, you're just going to hit exit. And as you can see, that silhouette did change over into my own picture, so you know that that one's done. You do need to click through and personalize each individual piece on any marketing campaign you have, just to double check it, make sure everything looks good, and also auto-populates your contact information. So make sure you do that, otherwise it is not going to let you save and continue on that part. As you can see, the last step is going to be that activity step. So just again, usually the last one is a task, and it's just letting you know that your 12 direct seasonal campaign has come to a conclusion and that you need to go ahead and set them up for the next campaign. And it does show you what date that's going to happen on, so it will send you that task reminder on that date. From there, once you've hit save and continue, you're going to choose which contact should get this particular campaign. You have two different ways that you can choose the contact that's going to get that. You can either do it by the group type. So again, if you've gone through and you've set up your groups, you can do it through there. Or you can also hit the contacts tab and then from there choose which contacts you want. In this case, since this is a seasonal one that they're going to get seasonal emails from you, you could go ahead and add all contacts, and any contacts that have a valid email address are going to be added over into that section. So from there, you're going to hit the Save Changes. And let it load. It may not like it since I didn't go through and personalize. Okay, there we go. And then once you have those contacts set up, you do need to hit the review and activate portion. And what that's going to do, see how it says it knows that I did not personalize each of my things. So it is going to tell you that you did not make those edits. So I need to go ahead and do that. But what we'll do is I'm just going to pretend like I did that. And then from there, you can choose which contact. So once this campaign is completed, you can automatically have them set up to go on to a next one. So if you did have another seasonal campaign already set up, which keep in mind they on when they do expire, because they do come out every year with new ones. So if you do choose another 12 direct seasonal tip campaign, just make sure that it is going to continue past the time that this one expires. Or you can go ahead and get them set up on another campaign that you've already started. Then you need to hit the I reviewed the campaign, and then if you want to include those showcase properties on each of the email steps, this is what you need to do. And then once you have that selected, you're going to hit the activate campaign button, and that is going to get you set up and start sending those emails out to the campaign or to the contacts that you chose. So I'm going to go ahead and cancel this campaign since I don't want them to get my the emails. I already have them set up. So I'm going to go back into my campaigns and show you what that looks like. As you can see, I already have them on that seasonal campaign. This is a little bit different. So I have the 72 on that one, and I do have all my contacts on the Holiday Fun campaign. So they are going to get 8 emails from me at that point. You do need to make sure that it's active, so once you activate it, you can do that here. If you ever want to shut it off, you can always pause it, turn it back on. I guess you just got to go back in and activate it again. We'll go ahead. So you can see there's only 2 steps left for this year, so after that I'm going to need to add them to more. So I'm going to activate that again. And then you always have this performance tab over here where you can click on it. You can see how many people are opening it, what percentage, how many were sent out. And then from there, let's see, you can see at what step they added it, or sorry, they opened it, just to kind of give you some idea on which campaigns are working and which ones maybe need to be changed. And you can do that to each of them. So that's how you get a campaign set up and started, and how you add those contacts to that campaign. And you can go through and choose the different campaigns. I showed you how to edit them. The last thing that I want to show you today is how to create your own custom campaign. So yes, eEdge is great about giving you campaigns that are already put together, already set up. You know, they've done the emails, they've done the steps, they've done everything for you, and all you need to do is edit and activate. But in case you did want to come through and create your own campaign, say you wanted to create a past client campaign that eEdge doesn't already have, you can go down here to the Create Campaign drop box. From there you choose what kind of campaign you want. So let's say we do want an interval campaign that's going to go out at certain periods of time. Then you can go in and do that. So all you would need to do is click through, add what type of step you want. So if, let's say that this one's going to be an email, then you would click email. If you wanted to do an activity first or a direct mailer, you can choose that. When you hit over on this email step, it is going to take you over into the Design Center where you can go in and create what that email is going to look like. So let's just say we do want to send them this 3 rules to remember when shopping for a mortgage. So you do need to go in, make sure you personalize this email. So again, make sure your information is populated over there. Hit the save. Exit out of it. Add that to campaign. And you can see here where it automatically adds it. So again, you can set up at what point or how many days after the contact is added when they're going to get this. So I want to go ahead and say 1 day after the contact is added, they receive this email. And then I would go ahead and email or add my email subject. And then go in and I would add my next step. So let's say my next step, I want to be an activity. So this is going to turn into a task. So let's say 7 days after the first step, I wanted to follow up on the new buyer. I would add my notes here. And then again, I would add my next step and continue on through until I've got the campaign that I want. You can also switch the step orders by holding and dragging on the little arrows. Let's go back over here. And then once you're done with your steps, you'd hit the save and continue. Add which contacts again you want to have on this campaign and review and activate. So that is how you can set up your own custom campaign as well. So that is everything for today's class. At this point you should know how to set up your contacts, how to manage those contacts, and then from there get them set up on the campaigns and create those custom campaigns as well. So thank you so much for your time, and I hope you learned lots.